Cities there fought with far-right demonstrators that tried to set fire to 2 hotels where asylum seekers live.
The government's own website says you'll be given somewhere to live if you need it. This could be in a flat, a house, a hostel or bed and breakfast. The average rent in London is £2,121 a month, by the way, just for a little bit of context there.
Immigration protests in England led to weekend violence, chaos, and hundreds of arrests. Police and several...
Look at what happened last night. Really look at it. This wasn't a rumor. It wasn't online noise. It was on the streets, in real time, in British cities, with police lines breaking, traffic frozen, and communities boiling over. Birmingham. Migrant hotels surrounded, windows smashed. Riot police, shoulder to shoulder, shields up, holding back hundreds of locals who say they've had enough. Then Leeds, same scene, an asylum center boxed in, crowds chanting, "Labor out," officers overwhelmed, radios screaming for backup. And it didn't stop there. Manchester, Newcastle, Sheffield, Liverpool, Nottingham, Leicester, 8 cities. One night, all erupting over the same thing, migrant hotels forced into communities that never agreed to them. This is what a breaking point looks like. This is what happens when pressure builds for years and nobody listens. Mass migration, illegal migration, hotels full of asylum seekers dropped into working areas with no warning, no vote, no trust left, and silence from Downing Street. Keir Starmer nowhere to be seen, not closing a single hotel, not facing the streets, not answering the people paying the bill. This is not about hating individuals. This is about loss of control, about safety, about fairness, about communities feeling sacrificed. And last night, that anger didn't stay quiet anymore. Let me walk you through what actually happened, city by city, minute by minute. Birmingham first, 10:47 p.m., Stratford Road. Outside the Holiday Inn Express, converted into migrant housing 6 months ago. 230 asylum seekers living there with no end date. Locals say crime went up. Police patrols doubled. Families stopped letting kids walk alone. Last night, a small group gathered, around 50 people, mostly locals, parents, shop workers, taxi drivers, people who live right there. Handwritten signs, "Protect our children," "Close the hotel," "Labor out." By 11:15 p.m., the crowd was over 200, then 300. Police arrived and formed a line in front of the entrance. Tension rising, phones out, shouting. At 11:38 p.m., a brick flew. Straight through a ground floor window. Glass everywhere. Then another. Windows along the front shattered. Police called for backup. Riot gear rolled in. Shields locked. Batons ready. Inside the hotel, migrants were moved upstairs, protected behind police lines. Outside, British residents were pushed back. Arrests started. 18 people detained, charged with violent disorder. The standoff didn't end until 2:17 a.m., 4.5 hours. One of the longest migrant hotel confrontations Birmingham has seen. While Birmingham was still locked down, Leeds kicked off 11:09 p.m. The Britannia Hotel on Wellington Street. 300 migrants housed there, right in the city center. Same pattern. Crowd forms. Chants spread. Close it down. Labor out. By 11:30 p.m., more than 400 people surrounded the building. Roads blocked, buses diverted, police stretched thin. Midnight. Bottles thrown, not just at the hotel, at officers. 3 police injured and taken to hospital. The front entrance smashed. Glass doors gone. Barriers torn down. Horses deployed. Streets cleared one by one. But the crowd didn't disappear. They moved from street to street. 23 arrests. All locals. All charged. And while that was happening, the migrants inside were untouched, protected, fed, safe. Then Manchester. The Portland Hotel. Used for migrant housing for 8 months. Locals have complained since day one. Last night, they stopped complaining and showed up. Around 500 people surrounded the building. Roads sealed off. Trams halted. Police vans everywhere. Newcastle followed, the Royal Station Hotel, 400 migrants, locals blocked access roads. Police couldn't get through for 40 minutes. Sheffield, Liverpool, Nottingham, Leicester. Same story, same anger, same message. We didn't ask for this. We don't want these hotels. Close them. If you're shocked that 8 cities erupted in one night, you haven't been listening to what people have been saying for years. Cost of living through the roof, rent up, energy bills up, wages stuck. And then communities are told millions are being spent every day on hotels they never agreed to, while their own streets feel less safe and their voices mean nothing. Here's what isn't being said on the evening news. Police are under extreme pressure, lines stretched, officers pulled from other duties to guard hotels instead of neighborhoods, transport shut down, roads closed, city centers paralyzed. This isn't normal. This is a system buckling. And there's another reason the anger is so raw. People believe there's one rule for them and another for everyone else. Last night alone, over 1,000 people were detained or processed across the country. British citizens, charged for protesting, facing records that will follow them for life. Meanwhile, when crimes happen around these hotels, locals say they see suspects released back into the same buildings. No updates, no transparency, no trust. Take Birmingham again. A nurse walking home late, followed, grabbed. She fights back, neighbors intervene. The suspect is arrested, then released back into asylum accommodation. Her family complains. Nothing changes. Or Manchester. A corner shop owner robbed multiple times near a hotel. Each time, suspects linked to the same place. He closes his shop. Police tell him their hands are tied. Or Leeds. A teenage girl assaulted near her school. The suspect charged, but remains housed locally. Parents protest. They get arrested. Whether every detail is perfect or not, this is what people believe is happening. And belief is what drives crowds. Trust is gone. Zoom out and look at the scale. Tens of thousands of migrants still housed in more than 200 hotels. Millions of pounds a day. More hotels planned. Communities finding out at the last minute. No vote. No meeting. No consent. Crime stats disputed. Stories buried. People feel lied to. And when they protest, the response is shields, horses, vans, arrests. This is why last night mattered. It wasn't one flashpoint. It wasn't one city. It was 8 at once. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens when frustration sinks up. When people talk to each other. When they realize they're not alone. Listen to what one man said in Birmingham, caught on camera before police moved in. We wrote to our MP. We complained. We reported crime. Nothing changed. So we're here, and we'll keep coming back. That's not a threat. That's resignation. You can arrest 18 people in Birmingham, but there were hundreds there. You can charge 23 in Leeds, but the crowd was 400 strong. For every arrest, more people show up next time, not because they want trouble, because they're more afraid of staying silent than of being dragged away. 2 months ago, protests like this were isolated. One city, one night. Last month, they started happening in clusters. 5 cities in a week. Last night, 8 cities at once. What about next time? 15? 20? Police know this can't be police forever. Courts know they can't process everyone. The system isn't built for nationwide civil unrest over housing policy, and yet nothing changes. Right now, cities are still tense. Heavy police presence. More protests planned. Hotels still open. Government credibility on the floor. Communities feeling ignored. Officers exhausted. Streets on edge. This is where Britain is. Not in theory. Not in think tanks. On the ground. On the pavements. In front of those hotels. You can call it anger. You can call it unrest. But it's really something simpler. A loss of trust. And once that goes, it's very hard to get back. 8 cities last night weren't the end of the story. They were a warning. A loud one. And if nothing changes, the next warning will be louder, wider, and harder to contain. Here's the truth as it stands tonight. This situation isn't calming down. It's hardening. Communities aren't backing off, and police know it. Every arrest last night didn't restore order. It deepened resentment. Every shield line reminded people that the state will mobilize instantly to defend buildings, but moves painfully slow. When residents ask for safety, answers, or a say in what happens on their streets. This is what happens when trust collapses. When people believe the rules no longer apply evenly. When they feel managed instead of represented. You can hold a line for one night, maybe two, but you cannot police away a national loss of confidence. Not when the same hotels stay open, the same costs keep rising, and the same questions go unanswered. What you saw across 8 cities wasn't chaos for its own sake. It was coordination born out of neglect. People comparing notes, sharing locations, turning up because every other route failed. And unless something changes at the top, real decisions, not statements, this spreads. More cities will light up, more roads will shut, more officers will be pulled off normal duties. And the space between public order and public anger will keep shrinking. Last night wasn't the crisis. It was the signal that the crisis is now out in the open, ignored no longer. And Britain is standing right on the edge of what comes next.